Hello, and welcome to DLE Miami Stars. Today is a special day because we are sitting right here with Mr. John Kozyak. Mr. John Kozyak is one of the most recognized attorneys in the United States. He's a trial and bankruptcy attorney. He has played a major role in bankruptcy cases nationwide. He gives lectures, seminars, and conferences in different cities about his practice. He's a creator, the founder of Kozyak Trapping Morton law firm based in Miami. And he's very, very active in the community. We're gonna talk about that. He's the founder of the Kozyak Minority Mentoring Foundation. And he also serves as the chair of the National Parkinson Foundation. Today is our pleasure to have Mr. Kozyak. Welcome, Mr. Kozyak.
Thank you.
Let's start with your early childhood. And the reason why I'm asking you this is because how do you, as a kid, how do you start giving importance to the value of diversity?
Wow, that's an interesting question. I grew up in a totally segregated community, so diversity was not very apparent. There were no blacks in my high school, very few, if any, Jews, no Hispanics. It was all Eastern European and Northern Europe immigrants, primarily in a steel mill town. So I didn't think about diversity except for the absence of diversity. It seemed there was lots and lots of racial prejudice, and so that was noticeable to me, that you never saw black people except across the river in St. Louis. I thought of that question, but when I was a young kid, when we'd go to St. Louis to the zoo, there were signs that said colored only and white only, and that makes an impact on you. And it made, I guess, an impact on me because my parents were not prejudiced. It made an impact that was not right, as opposed to that was the accepted way of doing business or living. So early on, I thought it was wrong to have those signs and treat black people, particularly with prejudice and also anti-Semitic. At the time, I was not Jewish, but I converted in college, and so I had kind of probably the only John Wesley Kozyak around, but as a Jew. But so I saw anti-Semitism from a different perspective, in both in Southern Illinois when I was growing up and when I moved to Miami in 1974.
And talk to us a little bit about your years in law school, how that formation had the impact of your future career.
You know, a lot of people go to school idealistically and then they talk about school, that they loved it. I didn't particularly like law school. It wasn't until at the end of my second year when I was working in Miami for a summer job that it kind of all fell together. I didn't understand why you take one course in torts and one course in real estate. I didn't really understand that, and so it was then clerking for now Senior Judge Paul Huck and his partner at the time, John Arell, that I started seeing how it fit together, civil procedure, etc. And really, I began liking the law a lot more after I began knowing lawyers that I respected and liked, and they were two amazing people. So that's how it kind of came together.
Now that we are talking about your practice, so right now, Mr. Trapping, Mr. Morton, and yourself, very recognized attorneys, but I bet when you started, you were just young attorneys trying to succeed massively. Can you tell us a little bit about the story of how you decided to create your firm and how were those early years?
I do. I remember that very well. I was with a big firm that had gone through some changes, and we were probably 25 lawyers in Miami. Well-accomplished, good lawyers. But my partner, Harley Tropin, was interested in starting our own firm. And I listened to him and I said, okay, I think that's a good idea. It was not a good timing. I just bought a house with every penny I had. I had a 3-year-old son, and my wife was pregnant. It was a challenge, and equally challenging for Harley, and probably equally risky for Chuck Throckmorton, because he was a young lawyer, and we didn't know what we could promise him, but we knew that he was exceptional. We needed to take him, and that was 33 years ago. So I was 34 at the time.
What do you think they don't teach you at law school?
They don't teach you a lot of things. They don't teach you about clients. They don't teach you about communicating effectively with clients, I think, is one of the first things that we recognize. They don't teach you much about the business of law. I mean, how do you make money? How do you get insurance? How do you do anything like that? So I think maybe they're doing a little better job now. Maybe they're doing a much better job now, but the practice of law is different than learning legal principles.
So after you founded the firm, after how many years you said, I feel comfortable now in the firm is well established? Do you remember maybe like a single event?
I do. Somebody sent us Harley had a number of clients, so we had a base level of income, and that was great. He was representing a lot of designers in infringement cases. And then a friend of mine, a former partner, sent us a big bankruptcy matter that we were representing Citibank, and that was a big deal to us. And then we started getting really good referrals coming in, and I would say within a year we thought we might make it, and I'd say within 2 years I thought we were pretty, assured that we would make it at some level. But I think the best thing is that Harley, Chuck, and I never went into great debt, and we both have, all three of us have good spouses, great spouses who were supportive. My wife was pregnant with her second kid, and we had just bought a new house, and our mortgage was like 16%. This is back in Carter days, and I said, I want to start my own firm, and she said, well, okay. The worst thing that can happen is you spend more time at home. I never spent more time at home. I started spending a lot less, but it was worth it.
Mr. Kozyak, you have in front of you a young attorney. This young attorney is John Kozyak, but he's 30 years old. What would be the advice that you give to your own 30-year-old attorney?
No, I give advice to young lawyers and law students, both, and you get to give that advice when you get a little older. The thing I would tell them is what I was told. First is you have to be very, very ethical. Your reputation takes a long time to build up, and it can be lost in a second. There's always going to be temptations to just kind of fib a little bit, not cooperate a little bit. So, but you can't take that chance. You have to be entirely ethical, number one. Be careful of people you're around, because you can be tarnished by their behavior. I'm lucky. Nobody ever says, what a jerk Chuck Throckmorton or Harley is. I mean, I get credit for when they do things well. Other is to be respectful to everybody. I think that there's too many lawyers that watch TV programs and are influenced by clients and advertising to say you have to be aggressive to the point of being obnoxious. And I don't think being obnoxious helps at all. I think it hurts a lot. I think so. Being respectful to judges and their bailiffs and their court reporters and everybody, and having a reputation of being somebody that people like and look up to. But many of the lessons I learned was just being nice to people. The people that make the decisions are not always, the senior partners. My secretary could probably tell you in 3 months whether or not an associate here is going to be successful. By watching how they work, do they work hard? Are they respectful of the staff? Because you don't get to turn on and off being nice. And if you're a jerk, it's going to show up under pressure. And jurors and judges and clients do not want jerks representing them. So I think the other thing I would say is come up with a plan. And, look at it every once in a while, but come up with a plan. And you can change it, but know what you're doing. And every day spend some time on your, improving yourself as a lawyer and as a person. It's kind of like anything else, but very few things happen by luck, I don't think. I think you have to work your butt off, keep focused, and also recognize that it's important to stay physically and mentally healthy, and that helps if you have a good relationship with people, spouses in particular.
One question that is mandatory, and many attorneys will get some benefit from this: how do you create the balance between having a big firm, having a big foundation, and your personal family life?
I have not been good at that all the time. I think I'm pretty good at working hard and playing hard. I think that's been one of my mottos all the time. I think I can blow off a lot of steam pretty quickly. I also multitask. I do things I like to do. So it's a little easier. And it's also nice to have a supportive support group that says, okay, that's okay to do that. When I was a younger lawyer at 30, 35, 40, 45, the only thing that mattered to me, or primarily mattered to me, was winning a case for a client, getting in new clients, helping the firm grow. I've had the benefit of supportive partners since I turned 60, and doing a lot of other things at the same time. And so I've rebalanced, but I wasn't the greatest example, and I'm sorry for that. There are many times I missed football games or basketball games with my kids, or open houses and things, and it's hard to be perfect, as many young lawyers know, especially women, how to balance being a mother and being a good lawyer, and that's not easy.
Let's talk about a topic that is very important for the legal community in Miami, the Kozyak Minority Mentoring Foundation. Can you tell us how did all this started, and how this become this huge movement that it is right now?
I would say since I started practice of law 40 years ago, I've been interested in trying to help minorities. I had no lawyers in my family. I knew nothing about law. But I could see that our law firm, even though our big law firm, the ones I started with, was one of the biggest it was the biggest in the state. Excellent lawyers, but very, very white. Women could not eat at the same luncheon clubs that we could go to. There were maybe one black, no Hispanics. And so when I got involved with recruiting, I tried to make a difference in trying to recruit people. I had a particular interest in helping blacks because that was the minority that I had no experience with growing up, and I felt bad about that. So in a way, it's my way to kind of give back and be apologetic for really, really harsh racial discrimination in the Midwest when I was growing up. We started with a mentoring program. It wasn't my idea, it was University of Miami's idea. They were going to drop the program. I liked mentoring blacks, and I said, I'll continue it, and I'll make sure that every black student at Miami, then at St. Thomas, then at FIU, and at Nova, FSU, all the schools, I would try to help them get a lawyer or a judge to be their mentor. And we've been pretty successful in that regard. And then 12 years ago, the black lawyers were having trouble getting all the lawyers together for a picnic, and I said, you know, to my partner Dietrich Shaw Wilder, who's an African American, I bet we could do better, and let's help. And we did it, and we got black students to come in from all over the state. But we found that many of our mentors were white and women, Hispanic, etc. And we said, no, next year we'll do it for everybody. The first year we had 200 people at the picnic, and last year, you were there, we had 5,000, we think.
Can you tell us why, for a young law student, it's important to have a mentor?
First of all, it's more important now than it ever was because the job market is horrible. There's too many law students out there for the jobs. So to get a mentor to help you navigate the system, to open up a few doors, make a few introductions, to tell you, you know, have you thought about this? I mean, that's a good idea, but have you thought about all the loans you have to pay off? Have you thought about, you know, is that realistic? For instance, a lot of young lawyers say, I want to be an entertainment and sports lawyer. I've been watching TV and I'd love to represent people in the NFL. Well, that's hard to do. But most of the lawyers who are sports and entertainment lawyers have become first just great lawyers. They're great at real estate or tax or litigation, or maybe they met, you know, Alonzo Mourning by, you know, representing him when he sold his house or something. And that makes an impact, but you don't, so I think a mentor has some experience. And the best thing that I was just thinking about it, my old mentor told me, put things in perspective. I used to, I'd go and say, oh my God, this is really bothering me. This doesn't seem fair. This isn't good. He said, John, just write it down on a piece of paper, put it in your drawer. If it's still bothering you at the end of the week, let's talk about it. Well, at the end of the week, I could care less about it. It wasn't a big deal. But you have to have somebody, I think it's helpful to ask somebody outside your law firm or outside your law school to help you with interviewing and preparing a resume and figuring out your career path. And that's what I hope mentors do. The good ones do.
But your work doesn't limit to only your firm and the Kozyak Foundation.
Oh, no.
You also, for many people, this would be overwhelming, but you also sit on the chair of the National Parkinson Foundation. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, the National Parkinson Foundation was founded in Miami in 1957. It used to be by the University of Miami. It was founded because a woman didn't think her husband was getting enough of the right care. Had Parkinson's disease. I never thought about it for a second until about 15 years ago. My mother was diagnosed with Parkinson's, and I met a lawyer who was then the CEO of the National Parkinson's Foundation, and he helped my mother get to the best doctor in St. Louis. And then about 7 years ago, maybe it was 8 years ago, I was approached and asked if I would want to be on the board. And by that time, my father also had Parkinson's. And it seemed like something that I should do. And for 4 or 5 years, I was on a board. I wasn't that active. And then 2 years ago, I became the chairman. And my wife and my law partners would tell you I spend an awful lot of time on the National Parkinson Foundation, and I find it rewarding. Making difference for people that have Parkinson's, and it's required a lot of national travel and focus, but I like it a lot. I feel like I'm making a difference in another area.
It's a commitment from your heart.
It started with, I have the best mother ever, and my mom has Parkinson's, and I thought, you know, what could I do to help? And now I see the disease firsthand. There's no cure. There's no cure in sight. We're making progress, but people need help. And so when of course, it's, you know, I don't get paid a penny. My wife would add, and you spend a lot of money doing it, but, you know, it's from the heart. And there's like mentoring, like anything else, you know, there's enough good stories out there that push me forward, and my wife has embraced it too. It's not, and it's never like, oh, why are you doing that? It's always, if that's what you think we should do, let's do it. So I get some of the credit, both in my firm and in my house, because I'm out there a little bit more. But there's a lot of people who help me do what I do, and maybe I get the credit for. But in Parkinson's, it's definitely from the heart.
At that high level at the National Park Foundation, having the impact that you have with the Kozyak Foundation, and being, of course, the founder of this prestigious law firm, are you right now devoting most of your time to give back or to the practice of law?
I'm giving back now a lot. And I need to emphasize that Harley was definitely the co-founder. I think I told you of the firm. He was really the impetus of let's try this. I just happened to be a little older, and my name alphabetically, Kozyak, fell before Tropin. But Harley was definitely the co-founder, and Chuck has been there from every day. So I don't want to take credit for founding the firm. I'm one of the people, 3 people who founded the firm. I'm still looking, I still work on legal matters. I want to work on legal matters. I find them interesting. I'm just a little bit more picky, and is this interesting? Does this get my juices flowing? And if I would love to, take a deposition tomorrow, and I'd love to go help one of my partners meet with a client, about a big, interesting bankruptcy or legal case. That is still exciting to me. But at the same time, I've been fortunate, and I get rewards also from helping people and giving back. When I was 40, I never thought about that. I just thought about, I want that next case. I really want that case bad. And now I think of, I'd like to work on that case. I'd like to be in court. I love arguing. But I get a lot of pleasure out of thinking, I just made an impact on some people's lives in San Francisco or New York City, whereas Mentoring Foundation is more local, although it's statewide, and the firm has a national practice. But now I think I'm helping people all over the world now, and that feels pretty good.
And you have been recognized. I was reading your bio in several places on the internet, and you have been recognized with many important awards. But once somebody starts interacting with you, you are very down to earth, very laid back. How those awards, that some of them are national awards, they haven't had an impact or changed you?
Well, I'm deceiving. My wife would tell you, and Harley would tell you, that I am not laid back. I am laid back some of the time. And I recognize that when you're young, you get criticized for things that sometimes you don't deserve. I can remember being a young kid and my dad thinking that I was hitting my brother. I wasn't hitting him at all. He's just making that up. And now I get awards sometimes when there's other people who are equally or more deserving, but you kind of, as you get a little older, people think of you a little more favorably. So I have people who keep me in place, people who tell me, you're not that good. And one thing about it is, I've always known, always from day one, that there were smarter people around me in the law firm. And I love that. I would much rather be surrounded by smart people and good people than be in control. So that's always been helpful to me. So yeah, I've gotten some recognition. Some of them I'm very, very, very proud of. I'm the fellow of the American College of Litigation, trial lawyers, and a fellow in the American College of Bankruptcy. There's only a couple of us in the whole country that have that distinction. But that doesn't help you when you get in the court. You got to be able to carry your own weight. And so reputations maybe bring out the best in other people that are opposing you. So I downplay that. Nobody's going to do anything for me because I have this award. Probably going to ask me for something, not give me something.
Right now, the practice of law is changing dramatically for these times, technology, the way people consume information, the way people deliver information, etc. But even though the practice of law is changing so much, what do you think will not change?
The need for trusted advisors. People want people that understand their problems, and they turn to lawyers that they can trust. Not just thinking, that's a prestigious person who has lots of awards, but somebody who can sit there and listen and say, I get it, I think I understand, and then advise them. Litigation, for instance, which I've been involved in bankruptcy, too many people just say, oh yeah, we're right. And I think that I and our firm have tried to figure out what's the best way to resolve this issue in an imperfect world. You may be right, but do you have 2 or 3 years to fight about it? Do you have hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars to litigate about it? Can you risk being wrong? What happens if we're right but we lose? That happens. And so I think that having experience and a perspective and getting the confidence of your client and the courts, I think, is very, very important. So I don't think that'll change. I don't think that'll change. How you communicate that is certainly changing. It's around us. The delivery of legal services has changed dramatically from my, when I started, I would write on a yellow pad like you have, and my secretary did not have, nobody had a computer when I started. That seems impossible. People say, I can't believe that. That's not true. But it's true. 40 years ago, no one had a word processor. No one had a mobile phone.
And the last question, you have an attorney that just came out of law school. He starts working for your firm, and you have to give him just a couple of things that will stay with him for the rest of his career. What would it be?
Don't miss a deadline. This is a serious job. Somebody asks you to do something, get it done. If you can't do it, immediately say, I can't do it. And then I would, because that's how people go to you. People don't want, my dog ate my homework, or I got distracted because Harley asked me to do something. You have to be able to get the job done. And you have to communicate. I'm overloaded. I want to help you. So I would say that. The second is, if you will screw up. You will not be perfect. That's okay. Just tell me when you screw up or you think you're close to screwing up, so that we can help solve the problem early and before it gets to be a big problem. I think if you do that, and you work pretty hard, and you're a reasonably gifted person, you can succeed. And we would never hire you if we didn't think so. So go out there and do it. And if in doubt, come see me. And that's what I tell people. And it's worked, I think. We have a lot of good lawyers here, and I'm proud of them. I appreciate this interview. Thank you.
Mr. Kozyak, thank you so much.